DJ General Mills.
This news is big. The fact that they finally arrested the killer or the killers of Jam Master Jay just a few hours ago is incredible. If you don't know, Jam Master Jay was the legendary DJ for Run DMC. I mean, a huge DJ. The way that DJing is now is because of this man, you know? So, huge DJ. This happened back in October 2002, 18 years ago, that this happened, and they finally arrested the guys. And I read this whole report, and the men's name are Ronald Washington and Carl Jordan Jr. So, they finally charged them. One of the men, I think Ronald Washington, was already in jail for something else. Carl Jordan Jr. Got arrested today, but both men are finally in custody. This is huge, but I have not been following this story. This story was in 2002, 18 years ago. 18 years ago, I might have been in like middle school or something like that. So I knew about the story, but I just wasn't paying attention. That being said, listening and watching the story, it's a little crazy because somewhere down here later on, they talk about how Jam Master Jay was actually he was dealing drugs. And this is a guy who had sold millions of records, platinum hits. They had their own shoe deal with Adidas. Like, this guy is a legend, you know, hip hop legend, rock and roll Hall of Fame legend. And he was a drug dealer. And this was after the fame. This is 15, 20 years after the fame. And they're saying that he did like some big drug deals, and that's where all of this stemmed from. That basically he was a drug dealer who was going to do a very big deal with these two guys who would have been his partners. But something happened in between, and he ended up doing the deal by himself. He got the drugs, everything happened by himself. The two people who were involved with the drug deal, who got outed, you know, they weren't part of it anymore. They got so upset, they ran up in his spot, and they, you know, fortunately killed him execution style. That is crazy. You know, that was a hip hop legend, and they killed him execution style. There's a lot to unpack here, right? I don't think at any point Jam Master Jay should have been put in a position where he felt like he needed to deal drugs. So I think that as an industry, we let him down. That's my personal opinion. As an industry, we let down Jam Master Jay. Because this is a guy who, like I said, he's a DJ. He was killed at 37 years old. You know, like, he was young, real young. So for him to get killed at such a young age, and for him to be such a big, huge artist, he was global. You know, Run DMC was one of the biggest global running acts in the world, you know, at that time. So to see, you know, him go down like this was unfortunate. It was huge, like, just a big unfortunate thing. So that's number one. Number two, I think we honestly have to look at what some of our artists or DJs are into after the lights and fame has died down. A lot of artists, like, they need help. You know, a lot of these people come from the hood. They come from the streets. And you toss in $2, $3, $4 million at them, they're only used to fast money. They're only used to living check to check. So if you toss them $3 to $4 million, they're not thinking, oh, okay, I can still live check to check, or I can still save this up. No, they're thinking fast money, boom, boom, boom. And so when they get out, they got to come up with other ways to make ends meet. Now, it's unfortunate, like I said, that Jam Master Jay felt like he had to go through this. At the exact same time, these men should be punished, you know? Not just for taking away somebody who is considered a legend, but honestly for an execution style killing, for, you know, the drug industry. I mean, there's just so many things as well. And one of the gentlemen, like I said, he's already in jail. He's been in jail. I think he was serving 50-something years for armed robbery. So just knowing that both killers are now in the street, you know, out of the streets, they're in jail, that's great. Jam Master Jay's family can, you know, finally rest. Run DMC can finally rest, because both Run and DMC, you know, they've both been saying we need justice. And 18 years is a long time to finally say we have justice. And this is just another murder where people, you know, that's unsolved in history, where people have not figured out a way to solve it yet. You know, we still got the Biggie Tupac murders, which you can watch documentaries and reenactments and movies about what happened, who did what. The streets know. I get all of that. We have to eventually close those cases. Eventually. And in order to do that, we have to know who did it, who's behind it, everything like that. So in this situation, I'm so happy this is not something that's going to continue going on. You know, I'm so happy that they finally get the justice that maybe they feel that they needed, or that they wanted, or maybe they didn't. We just don't know. We just don't know. But his entire family, you know, I'm grateful for them to finally get this type of justice. You also have to remember that Jam Master Jay was such a huge influence in hip-hop culture and pop culture and in DJ culture. You know, at the very bottom down here, it says that he was one of the founding members of the Scratch DJ Academy. That academy is still going on. You know, they had as you know, I'm in Atlanta. They had a version here in Atlanta. I know a couple of people who was there. I actually visited that academy before I even moved here. I visited that academy back in 2015. And, you know, I remember talking to the DJs there, and they were just teaching basic stuff. And they had some heavy hitters in there. You know, they had Supreme and Precise and guys that are known to be like DJs. They were in there teaching. And there, you know, you had that academy. I know that they had one in LA. The main one's in New York. I think they had a version in Miami. I don't know how many more of them are open. But there were just so many Scratch DJ academies. And he started that. And it's a lot of DJs that came through that. And it just, you know, a lot of other schools started because of that. You know, here's a guy who started his own DJ academy, and there's a lot of other DJ schools who started because they had the same ideas as him. So, you know, rest in peace to Jam Master Jay. I am so happy that they are able to finally, like, end this. Finally, the case is closed. Or I'm not gonna say the case is closed. We at least know who the killers are. They have to be put to justice. But his family can finally be like, you know what? Thank you. We can now rest a little bit more peacefully, knowing the killers are off the streets. So I'm grateful for all of that. You know, thank you so much. And like I said, rest in peace, Jam Master Jay.
DJ General Mills.